In a playoff series, two surprising teams with the label of a Cinderella club in both instances. Here is Houston, who defeated Los Angeles, then dispatched San Antonio in 7 games. Tom Henderson, one of the keys to the team. He's been an excellent quarterback. Robert Reid into Billy. Sensational playoff series. And here's Phil Ford, playing for the first time in 22 games. A real surprise, Bill Russell. What do they expect to get from him after this long layoff?
Well, first of all, it's a psychological lift, and if he plays well, it'll give they play better with him. If he doesn't play well, then they can just take him out and go back to the regular game.
And it's Sam Lacey doing what he does so well, Gary. Nice pass off that side on the cut inside. Robert Reid got caught with his head turned, had no idea the play was coming. You must see the ball in your man.
Moses Malone ties it up. You mentioned Lacey. What a passer he's been. In this playoff series, he's averaged over 5 assists a game. 2-2 our score. We have 1 minute gone by. A crowd of better than 16,000 on hand for this one. Very, very few people figured the Western Conference Final would have these two teams in it, but what effort they have put in. Moses Malone, who is a leading rebounder in the NBA this year, rips it down. This Houston Rocket team has won only 1 game at home in the playoffs. They're 5-1 on the road, believe it or not. Broken up. That will be off of Kansas City. Houston will have it with 9 seconds on the shot clock. I want to ask you two guys, what's happened to the home court advantage in the playoffs this year?
Nothing. It just never was much in the playoffs. The home court doesn't mean that much in the playoffs because the teams that are normally in the playoffs win everywhere. So it doesn't make any difference. If you have a good night, you win. If you don't have a good night, you lose.
Bill, here's 33-year-old Sam Lacey.
Now that's something, Gary, that you didn't see Kansas City do almost the whole series against the Suns, and that's get the ball up and try to go for the fast break right away. Phil Ford's in. That's what he gives this team, a new dimension, and they'd have told Lacey to shoot the ball if Malone doesn't play you.
There's a foul on Lacey. Now there, Bill Russell's the key to this game, and whether Lacey can stay out of foul trouble.
Well, he has to contain Malone. He can't stop him. And what they want to do is let him play one-on-one as much.
Play a guard or a forward missing. Here comes Ford, and you can see how he's picked up the tempo instantly. What a pass. Oh, wait a minute.
They're calling an offensive foul on Ford. Crashed into Billy Paultz after he made that fine pass to Lacey. Well, watch Ford. Now, here he goes. Again, this is what he does for this team. The great penetration move. Looked like he carried the ball there. He takes it in, dishes it off right into Paultz, who had good position for the charge. The basket by Lacey does not count, but 9
teams in the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. But as we mentioned, the first time they've ever met each other in the playoffs. The regular season of play, it was 4-2 in favor of Kansas City, but Houston won the last 2. And in those 2 games, Billy Paultz, who's at the top of the circle, started, and Phil Ford was missing. Here's Moses Malone. What a series he is having. Rebounds, shot for pushing off.
You'll see Scott Wedman in the right part of the screen over there. Billy Paultz. He backs into Paultz, backs in. Finally, Paultz gets inside of him, and they called Scotty for putting his hands up near Billy's back. Not much of a push, but that was a foul as far as the official was concerned.
Second team foul now on Kansas City. Robert Reid, who had 33 points in a game against San Antonio, has tied it up 4-0. Reid has really started to come on. Reid at 6'8", a 4th-year man from St. Mary's. That's in San Antonio. Here's Ford out to Lacey. Moses Malone on him, and Lacey has his hands full. Here's Scott Wedman. Look at the red shirts converge on the defensive boards, in particular Billy Paultz.
That's what the Rockets are going to have to do if they're going to beat this team now. In this Phoenix series, Kansas City was particularly effective on the offensive board. They didn't shoot that well, but they got so many shots. And that's what Moses Malone did so well against the Lakers in that series. He hit that outside jump shot.
Moses Malone with 4 points. It looks like Lacey's going to have to really stay close to him. But again, Bill, it's that foul difficulty. The Kings don't really have the bench to go to pick up defensively if he gets in foul trouble. Here's Reggie King, who had 2 29-point games in that series against Phoenix. And there's Malone. Boy, when he goes up, clear out. He even had his own teammate get a little of that abuse. 6-4, Houston by 2. Moses Malone, look at Lacey. Looks like Malone really wants the basketball. Dunleavy's had some key points in this series. Here's Reid again, wide open. And Reid is really hot.
Well, it was a good move by Mike Dunleavy to set that play up. He made the good penetration, got inside the other team's gut defensively, pitched it out to Reid wide open, and he canned the 2nd one in a row.
You can just see Armstrong at the close of the year in the playoffs now. That's traveling against Lacey. That's 2 turnovers now against the Kings with 7:57 to go in this first period. 8-4, Houston. This Houston team, as you look at Cotton Fitzsimmons, was 40 and 42 in the regular season, as was Kansas City. But Kansas City was the 5th team in the playoffs due to their head-to-head meeting with this Houston team, while Houston went in as the last club in the West. Pressure put on by Grunfeld. 4 seconds, 3 seconds on the shot clock, 2. Grunfeld brings it down. Ernie Grunfeld at 6'6". He's found a home at that guard spot. Ford. That might be some of that timing that's off after being out for so long.
Exactly. He made the hardest part of the move on the penetration. Henderson on a good penetration, and he drops it in, and Ford just didn't quite get his shot up over the lip, but Henderson was able to get through the defense of the Kansas City Kings.
And he was forced to take that shot. He was looking for the pass-off.
Well, Henderson, in the words of Carol Dawson, their assistant coach, has really been a key to this team. Houston now with 8 unanswered points. 10-4.
Robert Reid.
Robert Reid.
Tough defensive assignment here. You'll see Lacey with the ball. Here comes King from the other side. There's Robert Reid, just backs him right out of the play. Obvious foul.
That is only the first team foul now against this Houston team. Bill Ford, Henderson on him. Here's Grunfeld. Rebound, Billy Paultz only getting 1 crack at it. That's 3 rebounds already for number 5.
And Ernie Grunfeld got a pretty good shot.
Ernie Grunfeld's given a few shots in this series. Well, I guess it's only fair. Here's Paultz to Henderson. Grunfeld has really been tough physically. Dunleavy, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Dunleavy. You can't leave him open. He'll hit like that all night long.
Well, he really executed their offense. They're hitting the outside shot. When the Kings collapse on Moses Malone, they're getting the ball back out, and they're getting penetration and passing it out, and they're getting real good perimeter.
He's so difficult to guard. Look how active he is. He gets position. Now watch him make a spin move to the baseline. Keeps battling, keeps moving, fights off Sam, gets the inside position, and that's how Moses Malone gets so many offensive rebounds.
Boy, Bill, that's going to wear you out if you're going to play like that all night.
Well, you hope that he gets worn out, too.
Look at the shooting, would you? No wonder the Kings are down 12-4. 2 of 7. We have 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this first quarter. Here's Lacey. Look at Moses Malone come out on him. Scott Wedman, they're now 2 of 8 from the field. Reggie King. Here it goes to Grunfeld. He hasn't missed very often in this series. And here comes Henderson. Tom Henderson, who played on that World Championship team with the Washington Bullets. Reid. Henderson follows. Tom Henderson very alertly. And it's 14-4. Henderson with 4 points in the game.
The Rockets are really getting to play their game again right here. They get the break opportunity, they'll take it, otherwise they'll slow it up, and as Bill pointed out, they're really running the offense. Good move that time. Wedman held Reid off. Super pass again by Sam Lacey.
That's 2 buckets out of the 3 they've made that Lacey's had the assist on. Beautiful plays to the baseline. Bill Russell, what about Kansas City? They tired? They come off that tough series. You know, Houston's been off since Friday.
Doesn't make any difference. It really doesn't. You don't get tired this time of year. That's of all the things that you worry about, being tired is not one of them. What you got to do is just, both of these teams are feeling each other out, and they have got to decide what pace they're going to try to play at. So far, it's been working well for Houston.
Sam Lacey. Up it comes to Reggie King out of Alabama in his second year. Ford ducks in. He tried to hit Wedman, and it's off of Robert Reid. Kansas City will have it with 7 seconds on the shot clock.
That was almost a great pass.
It was, and if he had thrown a bounce pass, I think that Scotty might have been able to get the ball. Robert Reid at the last second stuck his hand in and knocked it away. A bounce pass, Wedman may still have been able to get to it and lay it in, but the super penetration by Ford.
You know, the question I have is how Ford could possibly be in basketball shape. Right now he's played all the way in the opening going. Lacey as now it's a 14-8 game.
And there's the example of the bounce pass. If he had not thrown a bounce pass in that situation, Moses Malone would have had a great chance to intercept it. As it was, he couldn't get to it. Lacey gets an easy basket.
4 points for Lacey. But you two guys, you always talk about being in shape, but there's a difference between being in shape and basketball shape, right? Ford's got to worry about that tonight, doesn't he?
Yes, because there's nothing that can take the place of playing a game. Not only you have to be able to run, but there's a certain thing about mental tiredness from working so hard.
Calvin Murphy getting ready to come in for Houston. 6 points in the game now for Henderson. Grunfeld, that's Lacey again. Lacey with another assist. And all of a sudden, after trailing by 10, they're down by 6, and Lacey's exhorting his team. As you look at Del Harris with Calvin Murphy, who started Game 7 against San Antonio and had 42 points. Malone, he may have walked with it. No, we have a foul on Phil Ford. Ford reaching in, committing a foul, and here he comes. Calvin Murphy, who in my estimation is one of the most exciting players in the NBA.
There we see Sam Lacey again. Nice angle from the high spot. You'll see the good cutoff. Reid gets the ball, a little cross outside by the guard and the forward. Now Grunfeld takes the inside route, inside of Henderson. Reid's a little late getting over. Nice pass and a good shot by Grunfeld.
13th foul now against Kansas City, and another foul spotted in time. Reggie King has committed a personal foul. And so 14 fouls. Reggie King with his first. And they'll take it out of bounds. One more and a penalty in.
And I can tell you will not see a more physical game than the one you're going to see tonight.
Here's Calvin Murphy looking into Malone. You talk about an inside-outside threat. Malone, not much trajectory. Listen to Lacey go up and rip it down. You can hear that clear over here. Off it comes Scott Wedman. Wedman out to Lacey. Here's Grunfeld out of Tennessee. They picked up from Milwaukee. Reggie King, and that's a foul on Henderson. Henderson got a piece of the ball, but also a piece of the ball player.
Now, one thing Kansas City must be careful of, as we watch the play come up here, you'll see the ball with King. He makes the move inside, goes up right there. Henderson, you saw at the edge of your screen, reaching in to pick up the foul, as they don't want Moses or Calvin to get the real big night, those 40-point nights. They can keep them somewhere in that 20 to 25 range for both of those players. They'll have done their job, but they must be careful not let a player like a Tom Henderson to come in and score and have a big night himself. Tom Henderson already has 6 points in this game, and that's the type of playing that will really hurt Kansas City if they don't bear down on the other players.
First free throws of this game, and Reggie King hits both of them. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-point game, so they settle down after trailing by 10 in the early going. Henderson off to Robert Reid.
And I noticed another thing that Sam Lacey is doing. He's handling the ball because he's going to make Rose Malone have to worry about him a little bit. And then that way he can't clog the middle so well.
Here's Ford again, Bill Ford. Coming back from that dangerous entry, and I think his eyes are all right now, don't you?
Well, I guess he saw the basket okay. He had a little more luck with that one than he did with the drive.
He had double vision for a long time, then blurred vision, and finally it's all cleared. The Titans getting off to a very shaky start, hitting only 2 of their first 7. Robert Reid will inbounds it now for the Houston Rockets. 2:56 to go, first quarter.
Now, neither one of these teams know yet what pace they want to play, because these teams are so different now. Because, first of all, their confidence level is completely different than the last time they played. The last time they played, they were both playing under 500, and they worried about making the playoffs. And now these are 2 teams that have won 2 series, and they're confident. So they're 2 different teams. And now they're still feel each other out and decide how they're going to play this game.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Calvin Murphy. Murphy again. Rebound. Look at Wedman go up, and we have a foul on Moses Malone. Scott Wedman challenging Moses Malone.
Now, I think that's the one thing they've got to do against Calvin to try and cause some problems if they hope to win. Now, see, he's got a floating shot. Now, Calvin's tough on that shot. That one doesn't go in. He battles and gets it back, comes to him. And then the shot had to be changed because of Reggie King, and Moses reaches over the back of Wedman on the play. But they'd have to make Calvin go inside. Don't give him those outside shots. They have to make him go inside.
First foul in the game against Malone. 3rd against Houston. Rebound, Robert Reid. That's his first rebound of this game. 16-14 Houston by 2. Here is Reid, who's a real true swingman in the true sense of the word. He can play guard or forward equally well. Moses Malone, 2 men on him, and Lacey rips it down. You saw both men converge on him. Out it comes to Grunfeld.
Outstanding pass by Sam Lacey.
Sam Lacey,
and he didn't try to hit the man. He gave him a nice long lead pass and let him run to it.
Now you get Sam watching the double team. Reggie King comes over to help out. Sam gets the rebound. Grunfeld right in your picture now will take off and go. The Rockets, bad defensive transition. Long pass. Grunfeld picks it up, lays it in. There they go again, and Grunfeld off the fast break, and a pass from Ford lays it in for another basket.
And they're not supposed to be running in this ball game, and all of a sudden, Bill Russell, they've got 2 easy ones.
Well, with Phil Ford, they're a different ball club. Without him, they want to walk it up. But with him in there, they want to run down.
Problem for Moses. And Houston's going to have to make an adjustment right now to try and get themselves back into the fluid movement that they were in early in this game.
Houston led 14-4. Now they trail 18-16, tied up now. Tom Henderson, what a start for this guy. 8 points. Henderson, during the course of the year, only averaged 5.5 points a game. He came on late in the year to start. And in the playoffs, he has really been a steady influence on this club. Here's Lacey. Grunfeld continues to shoot extremely well.
And Sam Lacey, again, the man that got him the basketball. They're using the split off of the postman on the side very effectively, Bill. They're getting men wide open, cutting to the basket, and open jump shots just like the last one.
That's 4 assists in this game for Lacey. Calvin Murphy, tough shot. Grunfeld with a rebound. Up to Wedman. Here come the Kings running again. Charging on Scott Wedman. And Fitzsimmons is incensed.
And he has a right to be. I feel it as a charge, no charge, a block without any question. Here comes Wedman. Now watch Henderson just move right over into him. It's definitely a block on Henderson's part. There's no question about that play right there. Bad call.
Boy, Fitzsimmons is still storming over there.
Rick?
Yes, Bill, I don't think it was a bad
about
call.
it now. You think it's a bad call, huh?
Hey, this is only the first period.
I think that Bill agrees with me on that one.
Go for it! Look at this, 20-18. Lambert is now coming, replacing Scott Wedman. And we have another foul, loose ball foul coming up against Ernie Grunfeld. You see the time? You're going to call it on Leon Douglas, I believe. Douglas, who's just come in. Both men went up and kind of pinned Moses Malone. And Malone will go to the free throw line.
Now, one of the reasons that Kansas City has gotten back into the ball game is that they've established their inside game. Those good cuts to the basket, some of those breaks that they've had. They have 7 baskets inside of 12 feet. The Rockets have only gotten 3. They hit those outside shots, and that's kept them in the game so far.
And the reason they've gotten it inside is Sam Lacey.
What I was going to say about Sam Lacey, he's made some excellent passes. And one of the key things about being a good passer is you have to really understand the offense to know what kind of pass to use and when to pass it. And he's doing an excellent job of passing at the right time. It's so important. Not only the kind of pass you give, but the velocity and at the right time.
All the way down, Phil, to 5.
You can see the clock time remaining is 12. There's 6 seconds on the shot clock and a foul on Calvin Murphy. You could hear Fitzsimmons talking to him, telling him how much time was left on that shot clock.
And he was telling them Murphy couldn't guard him.
And it didn't hurt them really because that was the first foul in the last 2 minutes. Only their 4th team foul, so they're not in the penalty, but they still have 9 seconds left to get a good opportunity off here. And the Rockets should not get the ball back.
Lambert comes back out. Wedman replaces him. Here's Leon Douglas to Phil Ford. You see the time left in the first period. Wedman, he's fouled and the basket will count. Robert Reid got a hand on him.
Now, those are the type of plays that coaches hate to see their players make. Unless you're really a shot blocker, Robert really bothered Scott enough on that shot. He caught him on the hand after he released it, as you saw there in the replay. He should have just gone up, bother him, and if he's going to make that tough a shot, let him make it.
Lloyd Walt now has come in replacing Phil Ford. You know what that reminds me of? Is Sunday when Grunfeld hit one at the buzzer at halftime. This Kansas City team really uses that clock right down to the last second. He's got a penalty shot coming, as that was a 15 foul. So Wedman will have another free throw with 2 seconds left. Look at Cotton.
Okay, back.
Boy, he has masterminded this team so very, very effectively in the playoffs.
He's done an outstanding job, there's no question about it. He's continually making adjustments all the time, and he's been forced, of course, to have to do that with the injury problems that the team has had.
23-20 Kings. There's Moses Malone. That'll count if it goes. And that will end our first quarter.
Their confidence level is so high now, and they're starting to do things. That first quarter, I would say, was the Kansas City quarter, in that they started to play the way they want to play. They used up 15, 20, 23 seconds, and then take the shot and then make it. And they're forcing Houston, with their zone, to play to shoot the outside shot.
But the first 5.5 minutes, it was Houston. They were up 14-4. Kansas City, of course, in the last 5.5 minutes, came back and scored 19 points.
And they've hit 8 of their last 11 shots. To give you an idea how they have come on. Reggie King, and he's done that the entire playoff. He gets that ball inside, it's all over.
Bill, another thing I think that's hurt them is Kansas City. You said Houston should run if they hope to win this game. They've only had 3 fast breaks, gotten 4 points. Kansas City's been on the break 6 times, only 6 points, but they, of course, missed that easy layup by Ford.
5-point lead now for Kansas City, 25-20. Reid inside. Douglas over intimidates him. Reid with his own ball. Nice play. Robert Reid hustling on his part. 25-22, 6 points.
They need those inside baskets. They were only 3 for 13 inside in the first quarter. The Houston Rockets. Kansas City 7 for 12.
And Calvin Murphy finally found a guy that he's bigger than he is, and he can take him in the pivot. And Lou Walton there.
Lloyd Walt, a little bit as they call him. Lambert, and he lost it. That'll be Houston's ball. 4th turnover against Kansas City. 25-22. Only 1 turnover thus far against this Houston team. And interestingly enough, on the regular season schedule, all games were won by the teams that had the fewest turnovers in each respective game. So we'll watch that very closely for you. Here is Alan Level, who's checked in. Calvin Murphy, Grunfeld on him. Grunfeld playing tough defense intended for Willoughby. That will be off of the Kings.
Show you, I bet the Rockets shot in the first 5.5 minutes of the first quarter. They were 54.5%, 6 for 11. They wound up 9 for 25 in the quarter, so they only went 3 for 14 the rest of the way.
That's the reason that 10-point lead dissolved so quickly. Malone now with Douglas playing tough on him. Malone right now is kind of taken out of his game a little bit.
Well, they're making him shoot outside.
Malone reaching in. Willoughby comes up with it. That's 5 turnovers now against Kansas City. Bill Willoughby, the man who you all remember, I'm sure, if you watch these games on CBS, blocked a shot by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he's played very well.
Go, Will!
Here is Calvin Murphy, that quick jumper. He's not hitting it well. Malone working hard as he always does. No one works harder in this game than number 24 does. A 1-point lead now for Kansas City. 8 points for Moses Malone, who's been averaging 29 points in the playoffs, along with 14 rebounds. And in one game, he had 41 points against San Antonio. Here's John Lambert, who started Sunday's game against Phoenix. Douglas getting inside for his first 2 points.
Well, again, if you let any big man get that close to the basket with the ball, it's virtually impossible to stop him from scoring. You just have to make an incredibly good defensive play.
27-24. This is Willoughby at 6'8", out to Level. Back to Willoughby, and John Lambert reaches over and commits a personal foul. Let's look back at that last basket.
Now, Leon Douglas, you'll see him come in and get position. He makes a little move, then he comes in. Mo lets him get set, and he just makes the move to the basket. Wasn't even contested and laid it in.
Lambert has committed his first personal foul. That is the first on the Kings, and the second. Simmons with his Kansas City team, one of the real surprises in the playoffs. And here's Leon Douglas. What is this, boxing or basketball?
Well, that's to keep the sunlight from blinding him.
Next time down the court, we could look for Kansas City to try and post Ernie Grunfeld up down low with Calvin Murphy.
27-24, the Kings with the lead. Alan Level off to Robert Reid. This is a delayed telecast of Game 1. We will have an abbreviated halftime, so stay with us as we'll have some interesting things developing. As you might know, Philadelphia defeated Boston 105-104 in Game 1 of that Eastern Conference Final. Boy, that's a big win in Boston for the Sixers. First time they've won in the Garden this year.
Well, that kind of thing is to be expected, really. You think a team that's had a layoff for a week, and then they had 4 games, and then they had another layoff, and Philadelphia came off of their time, and it's got to be so good.
There's Lloyd Walton, who came in to replace Phil Ford, and Leon Douglas, who's not known for his shooting, now has 4 points, both of them coming in the second period.
Well, what Cotton is doing, he has decided to make his centers make Moses play defense on the center.
Calvin Murphy trying to get his shooting game back. Thus far, he's had a tough time shaking Ernie Grunfeld. Bill Willoughby, nice shot by this young man from Inglewood, New Jersey. His first 2 points.
They did look for Grunfeld the last time down, but he had Alan Level playing on him, and he wasn't open. Level did a good defensive job.
One thing about Grunfeld, we've talked about his offense, but everybody he's played defensively, he's made it difficult for him. Here is Lambert, who they picked up from Cleveland. Leon Douglas from Detroit, steal by Alan Level. Walton racing up behind, Level, tough play. Alan Level out of Oklahoma City, a second-year performer. 29-28, the Kings by 1. First 2 points for Level. As now Billy Paultz will check in for Houston. There he is, the Whopper at 6'11", 240 pounds. Moses Malone will lead. Malone's really had to work hard, and Bill, they're just taking his spot away from him where he wants to be offensively.
Well, they decided they're going to make him shoot the jump shot and not let him get inside and try to keep him off the boards. Like I said, they're not trying to stop him, they're trying to contain him so he doesn't have that real big night, as Rick said earlier.
Reggie King just sparkled. He's really starting to come on as one of the fine young players in the NBA.
Yeah, good position. Robert Reid overplayed him. No weak side help. And Robert was talking. You might have seen him point to his guard, Alan Level, say, hey, if I do that, somebody's got to help me.
Oh,
Here's Billy Paultz. I started to say Reggie King was our MVP of Sunday's game. We got so excited we didn't announce it at the end of the game. But what a performance by Reggie King. He had 23 points.
Rick, you got excited?
Hey, listen, he's the head man.
You guys forgot to vote. That's what I meant. Here's Grunfeld. Grunfeld just continues to shoot the ball well. He has 12 points already. The Kings by 3.
That was a good pass. But what has happened here is this King is not the same player that Houston played against at the end of the season.
Billy Paultz, and Paultz comes in, and he scored 2 quick ones against Leon Douglas.
Yeah, and Paultz with the sweeper, hit one off the glass, and he was a little upset that I called him a whopper. He said, I thought I had shaken that logo, and he said, now everybody's calling me up.
The exciting Saad Mohammed, that light heavyweight champion, when he starts going into the ring, things start to happen. And that'll be here Saturday on CBS Sports Saturday. Del Harris, very concerned about this Kansas City team who's hit 13 of their last 16 shots.
And what he said was absolutely right. What the guys will do, they help out and leave the 2 best shooters outside. You can't do that. You got to stay with those guys. Now, what you have to do is make the big guys inside, like the Reggie King, make them go over the guy. But the help out is not going to be enough. But you got to let those guys go.
Boy, 2 steals by Houston, 1 earlier by Level, and now 1 by Robert Reid, and it's now the Rockets on top, 34-33.
That's a great play by Robert that time. He anticipated the play beautifully and used his superior speed to get down that court ahead of Scotty.
Reid and Malone now tied for scoring honors for Houston with 8 each. There's a reach-in foul. Allen Level coming around Ernie Grunfeld. Here's Grunfeld, who played his collegiate basketball at Tennessee with Bernard King, who's now with Golden State. First foul on Level. That's the first team foul against Houston at the 6:12 mark of the second period. Sam Lacey checked back in after starting this team off on the right track. Early in the game, they trail by 10. Wedman, rebound, cleared by Willoughby. Off to Level.
Scott Wedman does not have his outside shot on track yet in this basketball game. That was nowhere near being close to going in.
Boy, though, he had 3 20-point-plus games against Phoenix.
That's the first miss for Kansas City in this quarter.
And a foul on the baseline. Pushing off foul. Looks like Sam Lacey. Nope, they're going to give that foul to Phil Ford. And Ford now has his 3rd personal foul. That's the 2nd team foul on Kansas City. Ford in some foul difficulty. Calvin Murphy. Well, you can see they respect his shooting ability. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Reid, he has 10 points. Robert Reid gives the Rockets a 3-point lead. So Houston now starting to get their offense back together. Reid with 10, Malone with 8. That timeout, but Del Harris really paid dividends.
Well, and they're doing it without Moses. They're concentrating on running their plays. Everybody's getting into the picture. They're not just trying to get the ball into Moses.
During that timeout, Del Harris told Robert Reid to be much more aggressive offensively, and he listened to him. 2 big baskets here in the last minute and a half. 36-35, that basket by Grunfeld. That's a delay of game warning against Kansas City. Scott didn't agree with him, and he's discussing that with Ed Middleton. Allen Level picked up by Ford. Into Paultz. Lacey reaching in. He really made him mess that shot up. Took his rhythm away. He reached in on him. Here comes Ford again. What a story. This young man hadn't played in 22 games. Willoughby keeps it in play to Billy Paultz. The Level. Allen Level at the 4:42 mark in the first half. That's going to be a foul on Ford, and that's 4 on him.
And the one thing about the Rocket team, Bill, they will run better when Moses is not in the game because he usually dominates and gets all the rebounds, and he is not a real good outlet passer, and they don't look to run off of those type of rebounds unless they're long ones. Billy Paultz, you saw, got the ball out a lot quicker. Allen Level, who loves to run, that's much more conducive to him to be able to do what he just did, get down the floor, penetrate, and get to the basket.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think they left Ford in there at those 3 fouls? Now he has 4. He's maybe a little bit tired, you suspect?
Well, I really think that Cotton maybe wanted to let him get his rhythm back and figured he was smart enough not to pick up a silly foul. He tried to get out of the way on that one if you saw him. He was backing out of the way, but it was too late.
And besides that, with a guy like that, if he's going to be the guy that's going to try to keep your tempo, you got to play him as much as you possibly can. And under normal conditions, he wouldn't have that many fouls probably because his timing would be better.
Now we have a change. When Reggie King comes into the ball game, that means that they will have, well, let's see, the guards, it's going to be, I think, Wedman and maybe Lambert. They both can play the guard, and there's a foul. That's been what they've been doing, is moving those big guys, Lambert and Wedman, to guard.
Now what Houston's going to do is that they say they're going to not make the same mistake that Phoenix did. They're going to pressure Grunfeld when he has to bring the ball up. So they put Murphy to pick him up full court. And so that a guy's got to fight to bring the ball up, and it's hard to run your offense, but you got to fight to get the ball over the 10-second line.
That's the second foul on Calvin Murphy. Level up yet, almost another steal. And it's going to go to...
Smart play by Grunfeld, real smart play. He couldn't get it, so he kicked it. It's a violation. That way, they get a chance to play defense. Other than that, they would have had a fast break.
Alan Level has great quickness. There you see he anticipated like Reid, and now he knows he can't get it, and he just kicks it once he sees Level going after it, prevents an easy basket.
Robert Reid, and he is aggressive on that offensive end. Here's Lacey with the rebound. Lacey now has a total of 4. 38-35, Houston, 4:13 to go in this first half. Again, this is a replay. A delayed telecast. We'll have a short halftime, so stay with us as we'll be starting the second half very quickly. Here is Reggie King against Willoughby. Willoughby got a hand on it. Here comes Tom Henderson. Reid. Boy, Henderson set that up very nicely. And it's a 5-point lead now for Houston.
And Fitzsimmons said the man that was instrumental in the 2 wins for Houston against them late in the season the last week was Willoughby on his defense against King, and you saw what he could do.
Reid now with 12 points. High point man for the Houston Rockets. Lambert. That's his first 2 points. He's the man that was a real surprise starter Sunday against Phoenix, playing at a guard spot at 6'10". Got Fitzsimmons pulled out all the stops in that series.
It's a real bonus for Houston. A game which they didn't do in the first quarter. 3 for 13 inside of 12 feet in the first quarter. They already have 7 inside baskets in this second period.
As you can see, this is a delayed telecast. We'll have a short halftime, so don't go away as we'll be starting the second half right away because of this being a tape delay. Well, Billy Paultz was surprised, I think, to be open.
He could have gone in and dunked it late in the basket. There was no one there, and yet he pulled up and took a little short jumper, and the ball just rolled off for him. But Paultz has been shooting great in the playoffs, over 60%.
Reggie King already with 5 rebounds in this game. This is King. Look at the fake that he had. Rebounds his own, keeps it in play to Lambert. Reggie King again. Out to Grunfeld. Back to Sam Lacey. Malone reaching in on him. 15 seconds on the shot clock. And a mismatch, and Lambert just went right by him.
And it seems, Bill, that every time the defensive man tries to go for the steal in the front, that he gets burned because there's been no weak side help to help out the Rocket defense.
Mike Dunleavy getting ready to come in for Houston. That's 4 points in the ball game now for John Lambert. Level out to Henderson. Henderson back to Level. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Wedman got a hand on the ball. A chance to take the lead as Kansas City. Only the 3rd turnover against Houston. 8 for Kansas City. And remember, that's been the telltale statistic in this entire series during the regular season. And Wedman has given the Kings the lead.
And Kansas City has passed that ball offensively in that half-court game as well as any team is going to play. What they're doing is overloading the zone. Houston's playing zone defense.
Oh, wait a minute.
And those are the kind of passes you have to make to beat it. You think that one extra pass.
That's that word again, Bill Russell. John Lambert, Kansas City with a 1-point lead.
They're back to that big lineup that they played so well against Phoenix with, and of course, they've made this turnaround since Moses has come back in the game for Houston.
This Kansas City team, that'll be a turnover, the 9th turnover against Kansas City. This Kansas City team has just absolutely mystified everyone. Sometimes you look at them on paper and say they can't be doing what they're doing.
But unfortunately, the games are played on the court. On paper, it doesn't do them any good. So they're a good ball club because they're doing this. They're working hard defensively. They're passing the ball great. They're making the other team work on defense by passing so much that you don't have enough left to go and run your offense as well because you have to work so hard defensively.
Malone with those 2 points now has 10. There's Lambert wide open in the corner. Rebound, Billy Paultz. Paultz has been so much a factor of the success of this team. 11 straight year that he's been in the playoffs with the Nets, the Spurs, and now the Rockets. Robert Reid. Reid with Lambert on him. To Paultz, 9 seconds on the shot clock. 50 seconds in this first half of play. Grunfeld, he walked with it. What effort though by Ernie Grunfeld.
Yeah, he sort of slid.
Yeah, I don't know if they had a sign for that. It was a slide more than a walk, but he did battle real hard defensively.
He's now telling the official, Ed Middleton, to get some moisture off the floor, and they're ready. Look at Del Harris.
And Ernie's limping a little bit. He may have gotten a little hip pointer on his left hip, and have one of those, and if that is what he got, that could be very serious. If he cools down, he could get stiff in a big hurry.
Well, now Leon Douglas is going to come in. Sam Lacey will check out with 48 seconds to go until our half.
Smart move by Cotton. He doesn't want Sam to pick up a foul guarding Moses with 48 seconds to go in the half and get him in anywhere near foul trouble for the second half.
On the game clock,
Lacey
right?
with the one personal foul thus far as Reid will inbounds the ball. Up it comes to Henderson. 46 seconds on the game clock. Henderson has started this team out very well tonight, trying to keep them going, and rebound, Lambert, only one crack at the basket. Second rebound by Lambert, 42-41, Houston, Wedman, three-pointer, rebound, Malone.
And Cotton told him to take that shot because he knew they'd get the ball back. He said there was enough time on the clock. He said, Scotty, take it. Scotty took it, following the coach's orders. Houston will shoot the ball, but there'll be enough time if Kansas City gets the rebound to get it up and get another shot. 2 shots to 1. Good strategy.
Cotton very alert on the far sideline. Dunleavy, boy, he just hits about everything he puts up. He doesn't shoot all that much. 4 points for him. 44-41, 4 seconds. 3, you see the time. Reggie King, and that's one of the few times they haven't hit one at the buzzer to end up here. Kings 44-41 at halftime.
The rebound coming off. Scott Wedman gets the ball out the Ford, and here he comes and does what he does. He goes right by Henderson, drives in, dishes it back off to Lacey, laid it in, but there was an offensive foul on Ford on that particular play. Then again, coming down the good Kansas City offense, the way they move the basketball. Here you see Ford with the basketball again. Whips it around to Grunfeld, who's deep in the corner. Wedman inside has good position. He goes to Lacey, and he had a great first half passing. Wedman lays it in the basket, but the Houston Rockets started to play good basketball also later on after Kansas City came back. There's a fine play by Willoughby inside on King. He makes the block, tips it outside. Here comes Henderson, the Houston fast break in high gear. The good pass to Robert Reid. He lays it in the basket. And of course, let's not forget Moses Malone, the man inside who has carried this Rocket team all season long. Here he gets good position inside over Sam Lacey. Gets the pass. Look at all the white shirts around them. King over to help out. A little late Lambert. Moses lays it in the basket, but Kansas City did a relatively good job on him. Here's good ball movement again by Kansas City. They've got their big lineup in. Grunfeld gets it into Lambert, who had good position again. And as we said in the first half, Bill,
Kansas City was able to stay the game because they pretty much, Calvin Murphy didn't hurt him, and they pretty much contained Moses Malone, although he got some points.
Ernie Grunfeld had 14 points in that first half, and off it comes to Mike Dunleavy. Houston led by 10 early. Then Kansas City came storming back, only to see Houston take the 3-point halftime lead.
and it's been the team that's had the inside game going that has had the lead. 7-3 inside in the first quarter for Kansas City. They had the lead. 8-5 for Houston in the second, and that was the difference.
As far as shooting is concerned, 56% by Kansas City, a three-pointer. 3-point play that time. And Dunleavy now has 7 points. Hey, this guy, every time he puts it up, all he does is hit the bottom.
Mike's an outstanding shooter, and a lot of people don't realize just what a good shooter he is, and he has a very positive attitude. And I'll tell you about a story about that LA game that he told me.
He had 48 points earlier this year against Denver, blocked by Moses Malone, and Malone brings it out, 47-41.
That's the kind of defense they need to get from Moses. He can shut off that inside game. He's very capable of doing it.
And what Kansas City will have to do to counter that is go direct at him with his man and keep him busy so that he doesn't have a chance to help out, because most big guys are very effective, much more effective in helping out than they are going one-on-one defense.
Tom Henderson missing. In the first half, the Rockets shooting 44% from the field. Malone with 8 rebounds on that last one that he ripped down. 6-point lead for Houston. Remember now, Houston has won 5 of 6 games they played on the road in the playoffs so far. Here comes Dunleavy. Reid, Lambert, nice pass.
Mike Dunleavy made the big steal down the other end. Good defense. Got the pass to Reid, and Reid made a great pass to Moses for the dunk in the Houston fast break. Again, hurting the Kings.
Malone with 12 points in the game. 49-41. Kansas City still looking for their first points of the second half with 2 minutes gone by in it. Slow start for the Kings. Grunfeld inside.
And the weak side defense we talked about again was not there for Houston, and they are burning the Rockets on those high lob passes.
Well, Rick, you know, usually when you have loud passes, they expect it to be going to the center, a big guy. But with Grunfeld coming from the guard position, it's hard for the guys to get ready to adjust to that.
Robert Reid driving. Reid ducks inside, makes it 51-43. Reid with 14 points. Reid has come on with 33 points in one game against San Antonio, came back and had 25 in another. Backdoor broken up nicely by Malone.
That's not a good pass by Sam. He just tried to flip it over his head, and he just telegraphed it. Moses was alert and picked it off.
12 turnovers now against the Kings, only 4 for Houston. Houston coming up with it. Reid outside again. Rebound, Reggie King. Reggie King in that first half of play had 5 rebounds. Here's Wedman backing in, broken up. Kansas City struggling as they start the second half. 51-43. There's Cotton. Looks like he cannot believe what's developed here at the start of this third period. Dunleavy off to Henderson. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Lacey playing tough. Henderson wide open. Nice play. Malone tries to follow, and it's off of Kansas City.
Here is that break before. There's Malone coming up, making the good block in that defensive play that we talked about. Again, Moses very capable of those type of plays. Right now with 8:34 to go, it's Rockets by 8.
Want to see the sheathing used in most houses today?
Alfred!
It would take 5 layers of this stuff to equal the insulation value of 1 inch of Thermax by Celotex. No wonder everybody's screaming about their energy bills. For insulating, nothing is more efficient than Thermax by Celotex. For new homes, for re-siding, farm buildings, factories, everywhere.
Alfred, who was that man?
I don't know, but he left this silver Thermax.
Yes, sir. I'd like to have this 35mm film developed.
Well, you're in the right place.
Well, just a minute. Do you use Kodak paper?
Sure. Look on the back of this photo. See, this paper manufactured by Kodak. We use Kodak paper because we believe in quality.
Yes, but how can I be sure to get it every time?
Well, just ask for it here, where you see the sign.
Hey, let's listen to what Cotton Fitzsimmons had to say. Cotton.
Ready. You guys, hey, I'm okay. You guys didn't come out ready to play. You didn't come out. I think some of you think we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish.
We're here to win.
Well, let's do it then. Let's show what we're made of.
Show what we're made of as Kansas City off on slow footing here in this third quarter. 8 points have been scored by Houston off of 12 turnovers by this Kansas City team.
Now that's twice Scott Wedman has gone up for shots. One time in the corner near the Rocket bench, this time on the far side of the court. And good defensive plays, one by Henderson, one by Reid. He's putting that ball up for grabs. He's got to protect it more.
Houston doing a very good job breaking with the ball when they have the opportunity. Billy Paultz off the glass. Now they've outscored them 9-2 in the second half. 53-43. That matches their biggest lead that they had early in the game of 14-4. That's going to be a foul on Dunleavy.
Now, what has happened to Kansas City in the second half and trying to get their offense on track? Sam Lacey has been trying to make passes, but he has to establish the fact that he will look at the basket before he'll be effective as a passer, because they're dropping off into the passing lanes because they're expecting to pass, not to shoot.
Well, he's only shot twice in the first half. Reggie King, that'll count. Chance for a three-point play coming up. King now with 8 points.
Well, Scotty Wedman drew the defense to him and was able to get the ball to King, and he got fouled and carried it through to the basket. And Kansas City needed that basket to try and put a little stop to this Houston run.
Reggie King averaging 20.8 in the playoffs. 9.5 rebounds in the playoffs. There's what he's done for the season, 14-9. 53-46, a three-point play for the Kings. That might get them back on track as they trail 53-46. Dunleavy, Wedman on him. Off it comes to Reid. Ford, who picked up 4 fouls in the first half, hasn't played in the second half thus far after starting the game. A surprise starter. We haven't seen Otis Birdsong in the game. Henderson, rebound by King, and King starting to assert his authority. 7 rebounds for him.
I'll tell you one thing, this team listens to Cotton Fitzsimmons. He had a talk like that to them in Phoenix in the second quarter. I think Mike Dunleavy picking up a foul. There you see him on the ground is trying to prevent Grunfeld from making the cut through. And they really do pay attention to that coach. Now you see him guarding Grunfeld in the middle of your screen. There he goes, grabbed onto him as he made the cut through, and then Mike tripped over Moses Malone on that play as Willoughby comes into the game.
That's 3 fouls on Dunleavy. As you mentioned, number 32. There he is. Willoughby checks in. When you try to stay with Grunfeld, it's like water off his back. He's so strong. You went down in a heap.
Built like a tank.
Here's Lambert on the baseline, rejected by Moses Malone. Good defense by Malone. 53-46, 7 minutes to go, third quarter.
He just said, don't come here with anything weak. Come in here strong. Don't come in here weak.
That'll get his attention. Tom Henderson off to Malone. Nice pass to Henderson, and that's going to be a foul on Scott Wedman. Wedman now has 3 personal fouls. We have a timeout call by the Kansas City Kings. With 6:53 left in the third period of play. Del Harris and his team with a 53-46 lead.
I get all kinds in here. Some like it straight, some with a twist. But they all want a great disposable razor. If they like it straight, it's Gillette's Good News Razor, the Twin Blade Classic. If they like it with a twist, it's Gillette's Swivel Razor, twin blades plus a moving head that hugs your face. Both shave better than any single blade disposable.
Good news or swivel. Gillette puts 2 great shaves at your disposal.
So what'll it be? Straight or with a twist?
It's no secret a lot of people believe American cars aren't built as well as Japanese or European cars. Well, I'd like to take you through this factory to show you the spirit of our workers, the level of our technology, the quality of our cars. Then no one can say our cars don't stack up. We can't take all of you through this plant, but we can give you $50 to test drive and compare our cars to qualifying competitive cars, and we'll pay you no matter whose car you buy. We're not foolish, we're confident.
The new Chrysler Corporation.
Dog, go walk yourself.
Okay, okay, dog. Cool it. Listen, I'll take you for a walk.
Lamar Hall needs Coast Deodorant Soap, the eye-opener. No other soap refreshes like Coast with its exhilarating scent. No soap has bubblier lather. Coast brings you back to life.
Come on, dog, we out here to go walking. Come on now, we're out here to go walking.
Bring yourself back to life with Coast, the eye-opener.
Thursday, the Park Place attorneys are trapped overnight with their crazy clients.
Papa, can you hear me? It's Mama.
Will they survive the ordeal? Find out on Park Place Thursday.
Well, gentlemen, Kansas City in this second half has hit only 2 of 5 shots.
Well, this is pretty much the way they started the game, and so you can expect a turnaround sometime pretty soon. They better get it started pretty soon.
None of them are working the playoffs.
These teams will still fill each other out, and this game is will set the tempo of how the whole series will be played, and they're both, I think, feeling their way around and see what works best for them.
You see where Dunleavy got those 3 fouls in a hurry. Broken up by Scott Wedman. It'll be Houston basketball. 15 seconds on the shot clock.
And Houston's gone to the big lineup. Robert Reid is in playing that guard position. You got Willoughby, of course, Paultz and Moses inside. So they got a very big team out there. Smallest man, 6'4", Tom Henderson.
That's the first block of the game now for Kansas City. Malone. Broken up. Sam Lacey, but Willoughby has it back. Wait a minute. Jack Madden has a loose ball foul. Now going against Houston.
I believe it's on Moses. No, it's called on, who did they get that on?
Gonna call it, I believe. Well, they gotta give it to Malone. That is Malone that's picked it up. His second, 4th team foul.
And they showed number 20 when there's no number 20 in the game, so that was a pretty tough call there. Called it on the Phantom.
Another turnover. Kansas City now with 14. And again, remember, the team with the fewest turnover has won every game thus far.
The Rockets have been real good, 11 a game against the Lakers, only 13 against San Antonio, and they did a good job holding on to that basketball.
Here's Robert Reid off to Henderson. 6:13 to go, third period. Reid to Willoughby, 7 seconds on the shot clock, and Willoughby. Boy, did you see that? Malone went up and all of a sudden he was moved out of there.
You think Ernie Grunfeld had anything to do with that?
I think he did. Three-pointer. Wedman, Lambert, good job by John Lambert. John Lambert has really contributed the last 2 games.
And that's why I like the three-pointer in that situation. They took it off a fairly good break situation, not a great one, but the shot was taken. They had good inside position. Lambert came up with the ball. The defense and the offense have just as good a chance at it, so that's a good opportunity.
53-48. You saw Lambert and Willoughby shoving each other off. Reid with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Grunfeld. And now a chance to cut it to 3. Kansas City. They did trail by 10 just moments ago. Wedman off to Sam Lacey. Lacey hasn't shot that much, but he's going to now. Willoughby tips it off to Henderson.
A little bit too far for Sam. He's about a 15 feet in player. He's about 18 or 19, a little too far.
But that's what he's got to do, is take that shot occasionally to make him play the defense, play him honest.
Calvin Murphy getting ready to come in for Houston. Willoughby having a little trouble with the ball. 5 minutes left in this third period. Nice move inside by Moses Malone. Malone with 14 points.
That's a very unenviable task, having to guard Moses Malone. You may do a good job 2 or 3 times down, but he'll be right back at you.
Moses Malone selected on the second team All-NBA team this year by his peers as Scott Wedman hits. Wedman in the first half really wasn't zeroing in on that shot, but now he's starting to. He has 9 points. In that first half, he hit 3 of 6. 55-50. Out it comes to Paultz. Look at the tough defense by Reggie King. 8 seconds on the shot clock. 7, 6, 5, 4. Tipped out, and they'll have a fresh 24 seconds. Good hustle again by this Houston team. There's Henderson off to Malone. Look at Lacey reach in. That's off of Lacey. Grunfeld trying to help. Referee Jack Madden with the call, and here comes Calvin Murphy.
And they've done a great job against Calvin so far. He was 0 for 5 in the first half, but that doesn't mean that he won't come in and pop 5 or 6 in a row and real quick on you.
And as the time goes in this game, it gets more and more physical. They're getting to know each other pretty well.
Boy, the playoffs have been physical, Bill. These two teams, as an end result, are here in the finals because they've been able to meet that. Out to Reid with 3 seconds on the shot clock. Malone has it. Malone horsing the boards. Just hard work.
Well, I tell you, perseverance pays off, they say, right? If anybody symbolizes that, it has to be Moses Malone. And there's a nice play by Calvin Murphy on a great steal. Grunfeld picks up the foul. Never watch it again. Here comes the pass outside by Wedman. Grunfeld with the ball, and that pressure he talked about, Bill. There's Calvin pressuring. He cuts through the screen, and he gets the steal. Now, that time, it was Grunfeld's fault. He should have gone closer to the man screening Lacey.
Grunfeld committing his first foul, and Malone hits another one. And Moses Malone now has 18. It's a 9-point lead. Twice, this Houston team is led by 10. Substitution, Phil Ford getting ready to come in for Kansas City. Scott Wedman. Wedman now has hit his last 2 shots. He has 11 points. 59-52. Well, Bill, we may have a low-scoring series if this game is going to be indicative of what will follow.
And every point they get, they're paying for it.
Boy, are they ever. Calvin Murphy, 10 seconds on the shot clock, and Reggie King has reached in and committed a foul. Check that. Sam Lacey. Lacey, that's the 3rd team foul. The 2nd foul on Lacey. There's Malone. Moses Malone in his 7th year. Came right out of high school, out of Petersburg, Virginia. Sideline. Thus far, he has 18 points, 9 rebounds. He's hit his 2 opportunities at the free throw line. Ford is now checked in. As we mentioned, he would be coming in. Also, Leon Douglas has come into the game. Douglas came in and helped this Kings team in the first half. 60-52. Here's Ford. Ford playing with 4 personal fouls. He started this game. Surprised everyone when he did. In the first half, he had 2 points. That will be off of... That's going to be off of the Houston Rockets.
Here we see the pass again. Now Murphy goes over the top of the screen. There's the pass. He anticipated well. Murphy was out of bounds when he touched the ball. What they've got to do is try and run a backdoor play once in a while because the Rockets are overplaying everything. They're anxious you can burn them on it. And with 2:57 to go in the 3rd period, Rockets are up by 8.
Dorsal, you did remember to send the document to Denver.
Denver.
You know the deadline's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Pickett, I assume you sent the slides to Seattle for the sales meeting tomorrow?
Fortunately, Bingham here sent the blueprints to Birmingham for the big meeting.
It's an 8-point lead for the Houston Rockets. Moses Malone has scored 7 straight points for this Houston team. He has 19 for the game. Houston with the basketball, 17 seconds on the shot clock.
And again, they're getting inside very effectively this quarter. Moses doing an exceptional job. They have 6 inside baskets, only 4 for Kansas City. So again, the inside team that establishes that game has been able to control the game at that point.
Kansas City, I said Houston with the ball. Kansas City with the ball as we have 2:57 to go in this third quarter. Here's Reggie King, Phil Ford. Calvin Murphy jumps out on him. What a meeting between those two. 8 seconds on the shot clock. The Reggie King broken up. 5, 4, 3, 2. He got it underway. That's what they've done the entire series. Is shoot with
outstanding play by Ernie Grunfeld. Most players might have taken that shot with that much time left on the clock, but he saw the inside shot, and he knew how much time it was. He made a very intelligent pass.
Look at that. That's a pass to Malone. He just kicked it off of the backboard, trying to set up the big guy. Now, I haven't seen that in a while.
I want to tell you right now, I have to ask Robert, but I doubt if that was a planned play. Robert looked, he had him screen, he was throwing the lob pass, it got high, hit the glass. It was such a bad pass that it hit the glass, and Moses had perfect position, and it came right back to him. So that's a position, the case of a little bit luck rather than being all that good.
Now, wait a minute. I was all excited. I thought that was a designed play.
If it was a great play, I doubt that it was. And if it was, I'll find out, and I'll apologize for saying what I did.
Reid now with 21 points. 62-54.
Hey, I know Deli doesn't like trick plays like that.
Here's Ford. Henderson on him. Look at Paultz reaching over Reggie King. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Grunfeld. He just keeps working his way in. He has 18 points. He had 18 points as an average this entire playoff series. He has been so consistent for this Kansas City team. Robert Reid out to Henderson. 62-56. Houston with the lead. Here's Murphy. Off-balance shot, but it doesn't seem to matter.
I tell you, when Calvin gets going, he'll shoot them like that all the time. He didn't get the range in the first half. He hit that one, so better watch out for him.
That's his first 2 points tonight. Reggie King. Baseline, Leon Douglas in a foul. Nice bounce pass.
Well, here we'll see the play again. Here's the penetration move. Ford dishes it into King. He gets by Paultz. Moses come over. He's out of the play. Douglas gets it, gets fouled. Now, the whistle had blown. It was a continuation move. Leon should have just taken his time once he heard that whistle and made sure he made the basket.
Calvin Murphy now with 3 personal fouls. Douglas at the line. That's a penalty now in effect. Well, Murphy, after scoring 42 points the last time, has scored only 2 here tonight. A complete reversal for a man who's been averaging 24 points a game in the playoffs.
Well, in the 6 games that he played against this team in the regular season, he only shot somewhere in the high 30s. So maybe it's indicative of the way he plays against this ball club, but I tell you, I wouldn't bet on Calvin shooting in the 30s all that often.
Our producer, Bob Stenner, has just checked with Houston, and he said that that is a play. That they actually set up that play off the glass. What are you grinning about? To Moses Malone.
If Bob Stenner said it, then I know it's not true.
He checked with the Houston bench. Henderson. Look at this scramble. Off it comes to Scott Wedman. Now, aren't you going to believe Bob Stenner? I know you don't believe me. Here's Reggie King out to Ford. Broken up by Moses Malone. Malone dropping back in there. That's the 18th turnover now against Kansas City. 18 as opposed to 6. Del Harris, his team with a 64-58 lead. Calvin Murphy. Now hits the deck. He's hurt. He ran into Phil Ford. He's hurt. Holding his elbow.
And his right elbow, that's the shooting arm for Calvin Murphy. That could be a serious problem if it's anything really important in the basket. He's calling for 20 seconds.
He wants a 20-second timeout with 36 seconds to go. Dick Vandervoort, the trainer, is over there with him. That basket by Grunfeld cuts it to Ford. Let's look at that ball to the floor.
Okay, here comes Murphy. Makes the good move inside. There he goes. Crashes into Ford right on the right arm where he tried to support himself and break the fall. And he broke the fall, but he hit that elbow. And if he hit that funny bone, Bill, I mean, you probably had it happen. Your whole hand goes numb all the way down into your fingers, and sometimes you can't move that hand.
Boy, what a game this is, and more to follow tomorrow night. Game number 2 here at Kemper Arena. 11:30 Eastern, and then we'll continue on Friday night, the Summit in Houston, Game 3. As this series is going to be rugged. What a physical series it'll be. I guess we anticipated that coming in.
Yes, we did.
Well,
we
thank
won't leave
you.
out there, Gary.
Now, let's look at Calvin. There's some concern over there. Look, he really came down hard on that elbow.
It looked like he got his hand down first of all, and then the elbow came down. And if he had come down totally on that elbow, he could have been big problems. You see the ice on it, and he definitely has hit that bone that causes you problems.
The man that came in for him is Allen Level. Billy Paultz tries to get it up. Rebound, Malone. He just horses it in. And it's back to a 6-point lead now for Houston. There's your time left in this third period. 23 points for Moses Malone. He has just been phenomenal in the playoffs. He had 41 points in one game. What a job he did against Los Angeles and then San Antonio. Reggie King with 3 seconds. King again. And he's not going to get the shot underway. And so we have battled through 3 very, very physical periods of play. And a 6-point lead for Houston. This CBS Sports Special will continue after this word from your local station.
Thursday, Florence has a new job to fill, and charming Lyle has the perfect candidate.
Could I bring my girlfriend in then?
Sure. Do you have a leash?
Checking in Thursday.
This is CBS.
Taste the high country. Taste the high country.
Once you taste the high country, no downstream beer will do. Coors is brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water and its own special high country barley.
It's no downstream beer. It's no city beer. It's Coors.
Taste the high country.
Chlorine. Prevent algae? More chlorine. Pool party? Lots of chlorine. Then I discovered long-lasting paste products with stabilized chlorine that takes care of that routine. By releasing chlorine only when it's needed, Paste keeps my water sparkling clear through hot sun, algae, and heavy use. And I spend less time treating my pool and more time enjoying it.
Long-lasting Pace, now featuring double discounts up to $10. Last.
Well, that's no surprise.
When we tell you Michelin radials save gas.
That's no surprise.
But when we tell radials...
Now that's a surprise.
But it's true. We're America's fastest growing tire company. We make the tire you need at a price you can afford. See your Michelin dealer and prices set for your car. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Michelin, we put America on radials.
Makeup Tips Wednesday.
We have 12 minutes left to play, and be sure now and stay tuned as we'll be announcing the most valuable player at the conclusion of this game.
You know, both of these teams won more games on the road in the playoffs than they did at home.
I know it. It's incredible, isn't it?
I'll tell you one thing. Calvin Murphy's injury could be something that can have a big effect on this outcome of this series, but I don't think it's all that serious. Charles Baker, Dr. Charles Baker, the team physician, is there behind the bench. You see a look at Calvin, and if it were really something serious, I'm sure he would have been over there checking on it a lot more thoroughly.
It's been a physical game, but not a lot of free throws in the game. Houston's hit 7 of 8 when they've gone to the line. Kansas City 6 of 8. Not a lot of fouls, but very, very physical. Reid, 5 seconds on the shot clock. There's Dunleavy again.
Well, Mike said that he's really been shooting the ball well, and he did it against L.A. He hit that big basket, actually the winning basket. He said he had a good game in that game. Shooting, he got in foul trouble, and he was on the bench and just saying, I was just praying that I could get back in because I wanted to take the game-winning shot. He got in there, he got the shot, and he buried it.
Oh, that's confidence. 9 points now for Dunleavy. Bill Ford off to Wedman. Scott Wedman. That's the man that Del Harris is concerned about. And Wedman cuts it to a 68-62 advantage. Scott Wedman with 13 points. Out of level now in there for the injured Calvin Murphy. Murphy hitting that elbow on the floor. Moses Malone, and he's fouled by Leon Douglas. Douglas looking around, saying, who, me? He really bounced into him that time.
You see the battle for possession inside. Here comes Moses. He beats him to the ball, and that's the first problem that Leon had. Now he overcommits to Moses' left. Moses just goes up real strong. He actually lost the ball on his own. The reason he missed the shot was not because of the foul.
At the line, Malone now with 24 points. He's hit 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds. He has to be considered as a strong candidate right now for our MVP.
Let's go!
70-62. Just inside, 11 minutes left in this game. Here's Ford. Played for the first time in 22 games tonight. Reggie King, he's fouled. Alvin Level reaching in, got him on the arm.
But Alvin Level tried to do the right thing, Bill. He was the guard in that position on the play. It wasn't his man. He tries to drop in. We'll take a look at it here. You'll see the good position King will get as Wedman comes off the screen by King. He gets the ball. He's open. Now he gets good position on King. There's the lob. Now see, Level left his man. He got in there to try and help, just a hair too late.
Level with his second foul. Reggie King hits the free throw. 12 points in the game now for Reggie King. Also 9 rebounds. There's Billy Paultz, brings it down. 70-63, 7-point lead for Houston. Remember, Houston has lost only once on the road in the playoffs. And they've gone into places like Los Angeles and San Antonio. Dunleavy again, he wants the ball. Rebound, Reggie King. Bill Ford. Good play by Level. Level, 3, 4 men back. Reid and Douglas commits the foul. They had 4 red shirts coming to the basket that time. Committing the personal foul is Douglas. That's his 4th.
Now Phil gets a little carried away here. He lost the handle on the ball and just actually dropped it right into Level's hands. Level quickly gets it up, and they're off to the races. Here's the high shot on it. The good pass to Reid. He takes it up, gets fouled by Douglas.
He definitely dribbled.
You know, we were talking about the fact that it's amazing how teams winning on the road. I want to mention again tonight that Philadelphia went into the Boston Garden and won Game 1 tonight of that Eastern Conference Final. Look at that, 105-104. That's coming off of that Milwaukee 7-game series. And that's the first time they've won there this year. There's Otis Birdsong. He hasn't been in the game. Now, he did play Sunday. He has a sprained ankle. He hurt that in Game 1 of that series with Phoenix. Scott Wedman. Rebound, King. Leon Douglas has a great effort by Reggie King that time. 10 minutes left in this game. King again. Look at him play. He's playing so hard. Reggie King scores again. He has 14 points, 71-65.
They want Birdsong to get more rest on that ankle. They hope to have him back and have him closer to peak form by Friday night.
Birdsong, second-team All-NBA. Nice pass. That will count. Goaltending. That's now, in this game, 27 points for this man.
There's the great lob pass. You see Moses come into the picture. Nice pass. He goes up. Leon Douglas touched the rim. That's why the goaltending call was
27 points. Bill Ford. Nice change of hand that time.
And that's what Phil's going to do more of, Bill. A few times he's gone in there looking only for the pass, and he's got himself hung up in the air and turned the ball over. And if he gets that close in, he's got to look to shoot it.
Bill Ford scoring, and Level comes back at the other end. Ford with 4 points in the game. I tell you, it's amazing. This guy's out, Birdsong's out, and the Kings are still in it all. Level for Willoughby. Ford getting up very slowly at the other end. He's okay. 75-67.
Now Ford again getting a little out of control there, and Allen Level is exceptionally quick, and he's met his match in quickness with that man.
Amazing he's played as well as he has. Here it comes to Dunleavy. Nice play to Level. Ford is decked again. Ford, you can see in the background, they have the net all hung up. They're going to have to get it down. But it's now all of a sudden a 10-point lead again.
And we'll watch him again. Now here comes Ford. He's trying to do some things. He again got the ball up high, lost it. Level saw that he was in trouble, came right in and made the nice move. Willoughby dunks it in. Then the next time down the floor, it was a great play by Dunleavy right there. Makes the flip pass to Level. He puts it in, and the Rockets are up by 10.
Get tough. Protect your car with McGuire's lifetime polysealant system. Tough protection from Polymer Technology.
Prices.
Basketball. It's a moving experience.
The preceding announcement was furnished by the National Basketball Association. Here's this crowd in Kemper Arena. You look at statistics, 21 turnovers this game against Kansas City, and off those turnovers, Houston has scored 16 points.
And that's been a big difference in the game, and 66 shots the Rockets got at the end of 3 quarters, only 48 for Kansas City. You can't do that and expect to win against any kind of a good basketball team.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Ford out to Grunfeld. 3, 2, One, and blocked partially by Willoughby, and they'll have to reset the shot clock, or did they not hit
That's a 24-second. Once the ball doesn't hit there, even if the team is shot, if they get it back, that's too bad. That's the violation on that play. And again, that's twice we've seen Willoughby do that to Reggie King, and Cotton said again, to remind you,
I heard it.
that's the man that was a big factor when they beat him the last 2 games of the regular season.
That goes as a turnover, and it's 22 turnovers now against Kansas City. Level, off to Dunleavy. Malone, and Malone sandwiched inside, and a foul going on Sam Lacey. Both he and King had him really sandwiched in on that play. 3 fouls on Lacey.
There's Lacey with good position. The shot goes up. He's still right there. King's battling. Lacey's battling. Lacey goes up. Moses fell back. It didn't look like he shoved him, but the official saw his arm on his back and called the foul.
Dunleavy off to Moses Malone. Lacey on him, and Moses Malone now with 29 points. 79-67. The biggest lead of the game now for Houston. Up 12 points. They've led by 10 twice. Here is Lacey. Out to Phil Ford. Oh, look out. Ford hits the deck. He's okay. Wedman back to Ford. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Phil moving, but not getting the shot he'd like. And Houston with the roll. Again, it's so tough for Phil Ford after missing all that action. Now we have a technical foul on Cotton Fitzsimmons away from the ball, clear down at the other end.
And he took that intentionally, Bill. You know about that. Red Auerbach used to be great at doing that.
For you, Eddie.
See? There you go. He took the technical, and then he yelled over. Jack Madden gave it to him, and he said, "That was for you, Ed," referring to Ed Middleton.
10 points now for Dunleavy after that free throw. 80-67. Level almost walked to the ball. Off to Dunleavy. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Some debris has been thrown on the floor. Some very, very angry people, as you can very well tell. That's 8 turnovers against Houston. They've really held them to a minimum. And we'll emphasize again, each team that's had the fewest turnovers in the 6 regular season games has won. And Kansas City won 4 of those. Here's Reggie King. He just keeps battling inside. 80-69. Reggie King with 16 points. King was not a scorer a year ago. They only averaged 8 points. He averaged almost 15 in the regular season, and now at 22 in the playoffs. Nice play.
Now, I don't know why they give Allen Lovell his right hand, Bill, all the time. He goes right all the time. That's where he wants to go.
Well, when you play a zone defense, Rick, you just cover zone. You don't usually cover a guy that much.
Kansas City in this Western Conference final. The fans excited here in Kemper Arena. Reid with the rebound. Del Harris up in the background saying, slow it down, take your time.
Kansas City's got about 2.5 minutes to take over the tempo of the game. Because they're out of it right now. It's not their tempo.
Tipped out to Dunleavy. Dunleavy with 3 seconds on the shot clock. That was a 3-point play. And there is Reid. That's what you were saying earlier, Rick. That long shot, the rebound inside.
Well, especially when the play was broken down and the defense was broken down. Everybody was scattered, and Mike did the right thing.
Reid with 17 points.
One thing that Houston has to feel very good about, I'm sure, is the fact that they have control of this game here, up by 15 points with only 6 minutes to go. And they've done it really basically without an input from Calvin Murphy offensively.
That's exactly right. Murphy with only 2 points. 84-69 Houston. This CBS Sports Special will continue after this word from your local station.
Thursday, the Pike Place attorneys are trapped overnight with their crazy clients.
Papa, can you hear me? It's Mama.
Will they survive the ordeal? Find out on Pike Place Thursday.
This is CBS.
What's the matter, kid? First night jitters.
This night will be unforgettable.
The feeling's so agreeable.
Oh my gosh.
This night is unmistakably steak and ale.
Hospitable, impeccable, delectable.
Incredible! How am I doing, fellas?
This night is unmistakably steak and ale.
Yesterday's engines didn't have to work very hard to power the average car. Today's smaller engines don't have it so easy. They have to rev higher and work harder to do the same job. That's why there's Castrol. Even at high revs, Castrol doesn't suffer a significant loss of viscosity. And that's important, because if you make things too hard on your engine could make things hard on you. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Charles Nelson Riley visits Wednesday.
Step and come back and get the ball. They look to switch. Swing the ball. Scotty come over the top, high side. Reggie comes over the high side. Okay, let's go. We need one here.
Fitzsimmons trying to rally his team. Kansas City has only one field goal in the last 3.5 minutes.
Now, Cotton has been getting on the referees the last minute or two. He has to be careful. He has to get on him enough to try to maybe get some calls going his way. But you can't get on too much, because then you lose perspective in what you're trying to do, what you got to do. He's got to get his team to play some hard-nosed defense, make these guys shoot the outside shot, and then go down and get a good shot himself.
You saw the good shooting statistics of Houston on the screen. Willoughby continues to contribute very, very well to this ball club.
And Cotton's yelling out in the sideline to his team. They come down, poise. Come on, fellas, keep your heads.
23 turnovers against KC. 5:43 left in this game. 84, 69, 6 seconds on the shot clock. 4, Reid. Oh, Robert Reid with 19 points. 86-69. Reid has just kind of quietly done his job all series long. You hear about Malone and Murphy, but don't forget about number 50. Here's Wedman. Wedman off balance. He didn't expect the opening, and a foul. Foul's going to go against Reggie King.
I don't understand that call. He called a walk or something on Scotty Wedman. He shot the ball. Let's see if he gets it up before he hits the floor. He gets it up. There's the... Okay, his foot was down.
Yep,
that was the thing. His foot came down. Nice call by Madden. The ball had not left his hand before his foot touched the floor.
So it was a traveling violation. 5 minutes left in the game. Ford on level. Out to Lacey. Sam Lacey. And hasn't taken very many shots. He now has 6 points. Some of the people starting to leave Kemper Arena.
Well, we're not going anywhere, Gary. We're going to stay.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You'd better not give up on this Kansas City team. Remember, they lost the first game of that 7-game series with Phoenix. Badly. Only to come back then and win 3 in a row. Here is Willoughby. 4 seconds on the shot clock. They walk to the ball. That'll give it back to Kansas City.
The one thing Kansas City will do, they'll shoot the three-pointer. If they can pop in a couple of three-pointers, too many strange things happen in this game to count it over right now. But when they make plays like that, it's pretty tough to get back in.
25 turnovers now. 86-71. You know, Level, who just passed the ball there, has 6 steals tonight. He's really contributed since Murphy got hurt.
He has done an outstanding job coming in.
Here's Dunleavy to Reid. The Paultz, 4 seconds, 3. Dunleavy again, and he is fouled. Bill Ford ran right through him and committed his 5th foul.
Well, Mike picking up a little trick from a guy he used to play a lot of one-on-one with when they were both back in Philadelphia, and that is All World. Now watch the shot. Watch his right leg. He's on the line. You see him kick his leg out, and he got hit by Ford. It was a foul on Mike Dunleavy. Mike knows that trick because that's what All World Lloyd Freed does all the time when he plays, and he gets away with it like murder. So Mike, smart fellow that he is, studying to be an attorney, picked up a little trick from the All World.
Tricks of the trade, so to speak. You had to hear those, Bill. You're smiling from ear to ear. Cotton Fitzsimmons just shaking his head as he sees Houston come up with that offensive board. Willoughby scores, and it's 89-71, and Cotton has called timeout. Look at the turnovers in this game. Kansas City with 25, and the last check, they'd given up 16 points that way.
There's Dan and Ellen Fields. He's editor of our local newspaper. He looks worried about his problem dandruff. I wish he'd ask me.
Mr. Owens, what shampoo should Dan use for his problem dandruff?
Ellen, how about Tegrin?
It works on itching and flaking?
In a national survey, 3 out of 4 dermatologists judge Tegrin's medication effective in fighting even problem dandruff.
Let's try it out.
How's Dan's problem dandruff?
Tegrin's terrific news, Mr. Owens.
Prove it to yourself. Tegrin works.
At Atari, our game cartridges undergo grueling tests. We put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar up against Atari basketball.
Oh, man, what a move.
We let Mario Andretti test drive Atari Night Driver.
This game really cracks me up.
And the great Pele himself tested Pele's championship soccer.
What a gig, it beats me again.
At Atari, we take our games seriously, so you have more fun.
How'd you do, Kareem?
I'm glad I won't face Atari in the playoffs.
No other video game company stacks up to Atari.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Bring it to fourth. This is rally leader. You out there, Chuck?
We're pedaling as fast as we can.
Everybody else is here. Where are you?
Well, we've got ourselves sort of a weight handicap.
How'd that happen?
You guys just brought the bread and cheese. We got a whole trunk full of Lone Brow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well, we're glad you made it.
Who, us or the Lone Brow?
Game 2 tomorrow night, this very same spot, Kemper Arena. And don't forget, Kansas City lost that first game against Phoenix, then came back, storming back. They're trailing right now, 89-71.
You know, I think that one of the things that happened, when you see that number of turnovers, I got to think that the effective field forward coming back had to have something to do with throwing off the rhythm of this team. Now, I think over the period of the series, he's got to help.
Oh. Boy, he's not going to play if he hits the deck like that very often.
And he did hit hard that time, no question about that. He got cross body blocked almost. Now he's holding on to his wrist. Here you see the good back cut. Lacey with the good pass, he takes it, and Willoughby comes right over, and right there he just gets crushed. Hits the floor hard, but looks like he's okay. But I have to agree with Bill that this game will help the fellas to try and learn a little bit about what they need to do. But, of course, having to play tomorrow night and not having another day to practice, I don't know whether or not they'll be able to turn things around for them. But it certainly is a different Kansas City King team than we saw play against Phoenix.
Well, when Phil Ford was in the lineup, they won all 4 games in the regular season of play. Ford was going so well before he got hurt, averaging 17.5 points a game.
You have to remember that Otis Birdsong also was playing.
We haven't seen Birdsong tonight. Now, Lloyd Walton was getting ready to come in. They're going to get Ford out of there. Ford is 2 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, but he does have 7 assists. Here comes Lloyd Walton, former Milwaukee Buck. Discussion going on. The foul was on Scott Wedman, his 4th. The penalty in now.
And what happens is in a series like this, all these little bumps and bruises start to add up to hostility.
I think I understand that. Tell you what, this Kansas City team went through that rugged series, and they come in here and they just run into an even more difficult situation. They've got to really be tired.
Yes, and it happened in this situation. They hit a team that's playing their best basketball of the year, and it's a lot different than Phoenix, who was playing poorly at the end of the season. They caught a team that was down.
13 points in the game now for Dunleavy after those free throws, and Billy Paultz pushing off on Sam Lacey. Wait a minute, what's Lacey so upset about?
Well, he figures that they haven't called it all game, but now they got to play work and they call it.
Yeah, when they're down by 19.
Well, that's the first on Billy Paultz. There's Major Jones, who's just checked into the game.
Well, he's got a happy brother tonight.
Yes, he does. Caldwell, as Philadelphia defeated Boston. Three-pointer, Wedman. Todd Wedman, 91-75. Wedman was 16 points. Dunleavy. Houston. They win here, will be 6-1 on the road, believe it or not, in the playoffs. Billy Paultz. This year, Kansas City at home was 24-17 in the regular season. Level again. Level has really played well in this game. 10 points. He had 6 steals at one time. Now Calvin Murphy is getting ready to come in, and that's good, as he was hurt earlier. Evidently, he'll be all right. They may want to check it out and see if he can play. 93-75, 2:53. Sam Lacey again. Hey, you guys, what about the most valuable player?
Well, I like Moses. I also think Robert Reid had a real fine game for the Rockets. But Mo, again, seemed to be the big man.
Mr. Russell?
Well, I'm going to kind of go over with Rick. That's it, Rick. I thought Robert Reid kept the most moving in the first quarter. I thought he did a real good job all around. Now, Moses had an outstanding game. Which, as I said earlier in another game, that you expect that from him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it becomes commonplace, doesn't it?
Hey, now what does that mean? You've lost me. Is it Reid or Malone?
Reid.
Reid. Oh.
Well, you can disagree.
I'm going to pick Moses Malone.
Well,
Rick,
doesn't matter if we both picked Reid, isn't it? Oh, okay, I'll give a half a vote to Reid, and I'll give a half a vote to Malone. And no, if I did that, let me see, then that would be...
That would make Bob Stinner. No, we don't want that, Rick.
Well, anyway, the Miller High Life Most Valuable Player Award will go to Moses Malone. Right? Is that right? Did I tabulate that correctly?
Okay.
He had 29 points and 12 rebounds. So the $1,000 donation for Miller is made to the Special Olympics on behalf of Moses Malone. Reggie King has played so well for Kansas City. He was our last MVP. We're just checking on him. He already has 12 rebounds in this game. Mikey Sanders loses the ball. We have some new faces in the lineup now for Kansas City. This is Rudy Tomjanovich, and he's been fouled.
Now, I'll tell you one thing. He's like the lost man on this team. All of a sudden, you never hear from Rudy anymore. He had some injury problems. He got himself ready, but guess what happened when the team started playing well? He wasn't a part of it, and he just kind of got lost.
Douglas with his 5th personal foul.
It's hard to believe because this man, I'm telling you right now, I've seen some great shooters, Bill, in my day, but not many can compare what this man can do from long range. He is a great, great shooter.
11th year in the league, out of Michigan, 32 years of age. First-round draft pick way back in 1970. Tomjanovich makes it 94-75. Well, if you're Cotton Fitzsimmons, Bill Russell, how do you regroup for tomorrow night?
Oh, Cotton has shown a great amount of versatility in the playoffs. He has been able to adapt to all kinds of things happening to his ball club. And I expect to see a different team tomorrow night, just like we saw the second game in Phoenix, and when he went up to Portland and got that third game up there. He's done a remarkable job in the playoffs. He's been very adaptable, very open, because he believes in his team, and he believes that they can do anything. He's just trying to find the right combination and the right rhythm.
It's Calvin Garrett off the level. Level tried to hit Major Jones, and that'll go to Kansas City.
And they made him go to his left.
Made him go to his left, right, Rick. He goes to his left and a little turnover.
That's only 10 turnovers against Houston as opposed to 26. So that statistic still holds. The team that commits the most turnovers in all 7 meetings between these two clubs has lost the game. Here's Leon Douglas. Wedman setting up for a three-pointer, and he's got it. He's hit 2 now. 95-78, but it's going to be academic tonight with a minute to go in this game.
That means not going to make any difference?
That's what I was told. 19 points for Scott Wedman. Lambert bounced into Calvin Murphy. Talk about a mismatch. That's a foot difference between those two. That's if Calvin is 5'10". I'm not sure he is.
Well, yeah, he is because he wears all those socks.
7 pair. Well, I think it's really something that he only...
I say they have to feel very good about that situation, and he continues to put the ball in the basket from the free throw line. He's had a fantastic, fantastic season.
This will be his 36th straight free throw he's hit in the playoffs. 23 for 23 in that last series against San Antonio. 97-78, Calvin with 4 points. Lloyd Walton to John Lambert. There's Level again. Boy, what a game. He's played a strong game tonight.
Yes, he has. He played real strong.
Calvin evidently has shaken off that elbow injury he sustained earlier. Trying to get inside on Sanders. 30 seconds left in this game. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 11:30 Eastern. That's a traveling call on Murphy.
Little bitty steps, though.
Well, he's a little bitty guy.
Wedman up to Sanders, three-pointer for Sanders. Major Jones up, rips it down. Don't forget, if you just tuned in, earlier in the East, that's Level traveling the ball. Philadelphia took a 1-game-to-none lead, beating the Boston Celtics in the Garden 105-104.
And the home court has meant absolutely nothing in the playoffs this year, in all the series just about.
Sanders missed his shot. Level comes down the rebound. I guess if anybody just now tuned in on this tape delay, they would must have been out having a nice time. That is going to end it at Game 1. And the Houston Rockets, one of the Cinderella teams of this 1980-81 season, with a commanding 97 to 78 win over Kansas City. Our producer, Robert Stenner. Our director, Sandy Grossman. Our associate producer, Rick Sharp. Our associate directors, Mike Burks and Rich Nelson. Our field operations engineer, Philip Wilson. Our technical supervisor, Anthony Filippi and William Schertle. Our technical director is Jay Behrman. Our audio man is Mark Radulovich. Thank you, men, for your help. Our statistician was Mike Swanson. Game 2 tomorrow night, 11:30 Eastern Time. Houston against Kansas City.